May our time together be a benefit to all people, all beings, and all life forms. Let's start with a mindful pause. Gently take some slow, deep, effortless belly breaths. If thoughts arise, let them arise, but pay them no attention. Let all thoughts and worries about today, the past week, and the days ahead fall away into the background of your awareness. Lovingly be here now, peacefully, calmly, with a kind interest in the sensations of breathing. Kindly reflect on what your loving intentions are for attending this course. Gently reflect on how this course has already served and benefited yourself, your friends and family, your coworkers and acquaintances, and all beings and all life. When distractions or confusion arise, or your energy slumps, remember these loving intentions and benefits gained to help you maintain your energy, focus, and interest so you get the most out of our time together. We are on lands that have been cared for by Indigenous people for generations. We offer our goodwill and thanks to all Indigenous people, past and present, and we stand in solidarity with you to protect and honor your inherent dignity, culture, treaties, and lands. Welcome everyone, and thank you for coming to class 11 of Mindfulness Fundamentals. In this class, we're going to start with a brief check-in to see how your practice is going. Then we will do our long meditation, which is going to be a combination of a formless meditation and a bare awareness meditation. And the whole point behind this meditation is to help you understand the felt and experiential difference between being identified with form and not being identified with form. So we'll see if that works. After the meditation, tonight's talk is called, Am I the Watcher or the Character? And once again, we're going to look at the most pernicious and challenging root falsehood of self-view and get some more ideas on how to address it. But for now, let's check in. I'm going to cut and paste into the chat what I'm looking for from all of you. It's a little more involved than usual. So for course participants, we're looking for the 4 typical numbers: the number of days meditated, number of days intentions were set, number of times you either investigated or did a Blotti, and then the number of times a day that you're doing your gratitude. So 4 numbers. Then we've got 2 yes or no questions. The first one is yes or no. Am I starting to know the felt and experiential difference between being identified with form and not being identified with form? The second one, yes or no. Are the investigations giving me light bulb or aha moments? And then a sentence or 2 sharing your overall experience with the self-inquiry practice. And I have my answers there as an example. All right, and Julie's got hers report in. 6, 6, 10, 10. Yes, I think so. Yes. I'm finding the questions associated with Bilotti to be enlightening and healing when I'm in the midst of strong emotions, judgments, or self-view. Yay! This is wonderful. Good, good, good. That's what we're hoping to see. All right. All of your numbers look phenomenal. And yeah, your report is great. So we'll move on to Scott. 7, 6, 6, 12. Somewhat. Okay, not quite feeling the difference between what it's like to identify and not identify with form. That's fine. And yes, good. I'm still working on fully grasping the formless identity. No big surprise there. The Bilotti has been really helpful at helping me relax. The meditation this week was okay for me. It kept my mind so busy that I never felt like I was meditating, if that makes sense. Sure, sure, sure. So a lot of us come into this practice with the assumption that our brain is the savior. If the brain just knew the right information, knew all the stuff, like we could get rid of our suffering. And so the brain always sort of positions itself in that position. And what it sounds like is you're not letting go of the mind enough to try to feel and experience the answers to the questions directly. The mind is jumping in and like trying to think about it. We're actually trying to not think about the questions. So it's more about listening into the silence, feeling into the space and the stillness, and not thinking about anything. And then letting what happens happens. And sometimes the answers come to us as wordless direct knowings. Sometimes they come as words. But it's not a lot of thought going on. So those are my suggestions for how to address the meditation and not have it feel like a lot's going on. And one of the things, if the meditation feels like a lot of work, relax more. Like, you don't need to do anything during the meditation. Just try to be mindful, relaxed, use less effort. A lot of times we think, oh, I might not be doing this right. More effort, more effort. No, back off on the effort and that will actually help. Okay, cool. Moving on, we've got Gail, 4428. Yes, I feel self-inquiry helps bring me out of my feelings of depression. Okay, okay. So we didn't do a lot of the investigations this week. And I know things are busy, things happen. I would love to see your numbers go up in this last week if possible. I know you're not able to make it to the next class, but just really do try your best, double down, and just commit to trying to put in 10 to 20 minutes a day on these practices. And I think you're going to see some benefits there. But your numbers are good. I mean, you're still meditating 4 times a week. You're reading the intention setting 4 times a week. The investigations is where I'm concerned. It's a 2. I'd love to see that higher. The higher it gets, the more comfortable you're going to get with these practices. And the more you're going to see like, hey, this helps me get out of a variety of emotional and mental storms that may be active. And then your gratitudes are great. 8, that's close to 10, what we're aiming for. So Good. Any questions or comments, Gail, that you have? You're on mute. Oh, maybe that was a no. Okay. Um, all right. And Scott, Gail. Oh, and Julie. Okay. Well, great then. It looks like that is it for our course participants. So I will move us along. But as always, great job. I'm loving all the effort you're putting into this. I'm loving that you're seeing benefits from it. And again, as always, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So just do your best. And whether you're succeeding or not succeeding at putting the time and effort into it, just like always love yourself and always just respect all the work that you're doing for this. Cool. All right, so today's meditation is again a formless meditation for the first part, and then we're going to slip into a bare awareness meditation. And with that, let's prepare to meditate. So please review your flashback halting protocol or your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise and keep it handy. As always, if you're ever feeling something or your memories are arising that are too destabilizing for you to hold with compassionate mindfulness, then you're always invited to stop meditating, open your eyes, remind yourself that you're in a safe place, get up and do whatever you need to do to feel safe and in control. Get into a comfortable position that will help you stay awake. And if it seems wise, keep your eyes closed so you can focus your attention inward. If you're at risk of falling asleep, then you may open your eyes and gaze in an unfocused manner at something pleasing that doesn't stimulate thought. Meditation is an act of love for ourselves and all life. Kindly anchor your awareness on your heart space. Gently invite the heart to be warm, open, and receptive. The heart communicates with us, but not with words. The heart communicates using sensations. So listen to your heart by feeling your heart. What is your heart's loving intentions for this meditation? Does your heart do this meditation out of self-love for your own benefit? That's wonderful. Who else does your heart dedicate this meditation to? Does your heart want this meditation to benefit your loved ones? Excellent. And who else? Does your heart wish well to all of the people who you don't know? Does your heart want them to be happy and peaceful as well? And what about people who cause harm to others and themselves? Does your heart wish that they may be free from their misery and know their own inner love? Kindly ignore the thoughts in the head and listen to the heart. Does the heart wish well for people who cause harm? Gently check in and see. Does your heart's love only extend to your own species, or does it wish well for animals of other species too? Does your heart's love only extend to living beings, or does it wish well for plant life, water life, land life, and ecosystems too? Again, kindly ignore the thoughts in the head and just feel into your heart. Does your heart exclude any life form from its love, or does the heart simply love to love? What is it that you notice? Having listened to your heart, what are your heart's loving intentions for this meditation? Who does your heart genuinely want this meditation to serve and benefit? And if you're unable to hear your heart right now, then who do you love that you can dedicate this meditation to? Peacefully position yourself in a comfortable manner and take a few deep, effortless breaths to relax and calm the body and mind. Kindly breathe slowly and deeply into the belly. Lovingly invite the body to relax and soften. Gently invite the space of your mind to be empty. Kindly invite the mind to be empty of all memories, ideas, attachments, aversions, roles you play, stories about yourself, and so on. Tenderly invite the brain to rest, be peaceful and quiet. Compassionately do your best to anchor your awareness on the emptiness, stillness, and silence of the formless. Feel free to choose whichever of those aspects is most easy to connect with, be it the emptiness, the stillness, or the silence. Gently notice the space that surrounds and permeates all forms. Kindly notice the silence that surrounds and permeates all sounds. Peacefully notice the stillness that surrounds and permeates all movement. If thoughts arise, kindly pay them no attention and stay focused on the formless, empty space that surrounds and permeates the thoughts. We will now investigate the formless. As I ask questions, patiently do your best to feel or intuit the answers from your direct experience. Don't seek the answers from your mind. Feel into the space and stillness and listen into the silence for them. The answers may arise in the form of words or as wordless direct knowings. Gently resting your awareness on the formless, kindly notice, is the formless an object? Is it a mood or a feeling? Is it a thought? Whenever an answer does not come, just patiently listen into the silence and feel into the space and stillness. Is the formless any kind of form? Does the formless have any shape? Does the formless have a boundary or edge beyond which it does not exist? Is it finite or infinite? Did it appear, or has it always been here? Was it born? Can it die? Is it permanent or impermanent? Is it temporary or eternal? Is it conditioned or unconditioned? Are you imagining it? Did you create it? Is it real or unreal? Is it aware or unaware? Can the formless get sick? Can it get frightened? Can it become lonely? Can anything harm, injure, change, or affect it in any way? Is it stable or unstable? Is it vulnerable or invincible? Can any wisdom tradition own it or claim exclusive access to it? Is it personal or universal? Is it separate from you? Do you have to do anything to access it? How much distance is there between you and the formless? Can it be lost? Can it be hidden? Can it abandon you? Can any of your feelings, thoughts, or behaviors cause it to desert you? You are aware of it now, but has it always been with you all along? Why is it always with you? Could the formless always be with you because it is your true self? Could the formless be who you are when free of self-view? Could your true self be infinite, eternal, ever-present, and invincible? Could your true self be the source of all wisdom, love, and life? Could your true self be one with all life? What would it be like to live as your formless nature instead of the form? Lovingly now, we will transition into the bare awareness meditation. In this meditation, we allow the focus of our awareness to move freely, just as it does in daily life. In preparation for this, you can continue to anchor most of your awareness on the formless awareness, or you can anchor most of your awareness on the subtle, pleasant, loving sensations you feel. Allow the rest of your awareness to move freely as you calmly track what your awareness knows. Silently label what is being known using the blank is being known format. You may know sounds, thoughts, sensations. Just lovingly track what's being known. Then for each form known, ask, right now, am I identified with this form or not? Then explore what it is like to be identified with the form, or what it's like to not be identified with the form. As part of this exploration, ask, what is the feeling tone of this experience? Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Again, Lovingly and silently label what is being known using the blank is being known format. For each form known, ask, right now, am I identified with this form or not? Then explore what it is like to be identified with the form or not. What are the essential characteristics of identification or non-identification? And what is the feeling tone of this experience? You may notice, when not identified, the feeling tone is generally pleasant or neutral. You may also notice, when identified, the feeling tone can be unpleasant if you're identified with a thought or feeling that is part of a falsehood. Gently notice if this is true in your experience. What form is being known now? Are you identified with this form or not? What is that experience like? And what is the feeling tone of this experience? Gently set a firm intention to remain shapeless more and more in daily life, to test if this position enhances your well-being and the well-being of others. Out of love and generosity, we share any merits gained from our meditation with all life everywhere. We share any merits gained from this practice with all beings and all life everywhere. May all life everywhere be free from suffering and misery. May all life everywhere abide in a deep and lasting peace. May all life everywhere know the highest forms of happiness and be at ease. May all life everywhere know their deepest essence to be joy, peace, compassion, and unconditional, boundless love. May all life everywhere be fully and permanently liberated. Gently rouse the body by stretching arms and legs and moving the body in whatever way feels good. Once the body is roused, you can take a short standing break. And then after that, if you could type in a word or phrase that describes your overall experience with that meditation, that would be great. You can also get out your meditation log and log a 30-minute meditation for today. Okay, peaceful, serene, grounding, and challenging. Okay. Do you want to type in the message what was challenging for you? And I'm just going to keep reading other people's reactions. Relaxing, quiet and peaceful, calming, expanding. And from Scott, less effort definitely makes it more calming. Good. Yeah. Good. I'm glad that helped. Uh, Staying focused on the formless is challenging. Okay, yes, that makes sense. We have spent our whole life not focusing on the formless. So it's understandable. It's a very, very subtle, kind of a non-existent thing. So we only notice it indirectly by what it is not. And that makes it challenging to stay focused. So uh, yeah, totally understandable. Good, good. Any questions about that meditation? All right, and by show of hands, how many of you got to experience relating to a form uh, without identifying it with it? And for those whose videos are off, you can use the raising hand function. Perfect. Okay, for about half of you. So the people, it looks like the people who are in the program are experiencing that more. Um, and it's sort of the key thing we're trying to help you learn, which is how do we disidentify from form? So don't be stressed if you didn't experience it uh, in this meditation. Um, but that is kind of the vital, I don't know, skill maybe is not the right word, but it's in the ballpark. This vital skill we're trying to teach is helping you identify mentally and emotionally and every other ways, like what the difference is between identifying with form and not identifying with form. And uh, we've talked about it in all of the classes. It's being mindful of it, especially thoughts and emotions and sensations. Being mindful of it, not being aversive to it, because that is giving it more importance than it deserves, and it's causing another falsehood to arise, that of aversion or judgment. So allowing it to be, and then not identifying with it, not taking it to be our self. And uh, that's sort of a self-referential understanding it of it, but that's what we've been teaching in terms of how to relate skillfully to thoughts, how to relate skillfully to emotions. And then, of course, when we are identified with it, we try to do self-inquiry to help remind us of where our true position is. Um, so don't worry if you're not seeing this yet. It takes practice, it takes dedication, and we'll just keep doing our best, okay? Oh, but it's good. At least it looks like about half of you were able to see that during the meditation, so that's great. All right, well, I'm going to move on to our talk for the evening. If it be thy will, may these words inspire us to know truth, unleash our boundless love, and joyfully serve all life. May these words help all who hear them come home to their true selves. Last week, we introduced the falsehood of self-view as the root delusion of all falsehoods. Understanding self-view, what it is, what it feels like, and most importantly, how to release it, is vital to our efforts to benefit our well-being and the well-being of others. Because it is so important, this week we review the info we covered about self-view. And this time we stress the need to know the felt and experiential difference between identifying with form and not identifying with form. To do this, we investigate our experience with the question, right now, am I identified with this form or not? I hope you're doing this investigation. No. I'm having some technical issues here. All right. So having had a week to investigate the formless using the formless meditation, and a week to practice self-inquiry using the disidentify practice from Bilotti, hopefully what you hear tonight is going to make more sense than it did even just a week ago. So let's start with a review of the falsehood of self-view. Now, last week we explained the falsehood of self-view in two ways. We defined it as our story of self, who and what we are, and this story typically says, I am this body and its thoughts, feelings, and sensations. I am the thinker of my thoughts, I am the doer of my actions. The second definition of self-view is identification with any form. We can identify with our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, with the body, with the roles we play, with our actions and behaviors, with the people we care about, and even with our material possessions. We can see all of these things as a part of us, and then suffer immensely when they change, move on, or die, as is their nature to do. We shared how self-view is the root falsehood of all other falsehoods. If we can uproot self-view, which is the hardest one to uproot, we end up uprooting all of the other ones that we've talked about during this course. Because when it comes to falsehoods of fixed view, judgment, futuring, pasting, craving, and aversion, all of these involve us identifying with either the thoughts in our minds or the emotions in the body. Self-view is inherent to all of those falsehoods. So if we can get good at self-inquiry, we can start relating to all objects mindfully and free of self-identification. Last week, we also discussed 2 liberating insights to help us overcome the falsehood of self-view. The first is that all forms are impermanent and impersonal. During this course, we have investigated numerous forms, like our thoughts and our emotions, and found that anything we can know with our senses is conditioned, impersonal, and unfolding due to natural laws. Like a river, they operate according to natural laws, not our wants and desires. When we identify with any temporary, changing, impersonal form, we set ourselves up to suffer when those forms change, go away, or die as they lawfully must. To respond to this, we encourage ourselves to be the knower, not the known. We have seen and experienced that all forms are impersonal and impermanent. Realizing this truth, wisdom tells us that all life is sacred, so we relate to all forms with love, honor, and respect. Now, at the same time, we know that this too will pass. So wisdom tells us to not cling to any form or depend on them for our own happiness. Then, when the forms go away, we can let them go with love and with an attitude of acceptance, knowing thy will be done. The second liberating insight is that your essential nature is eternal, infinite, indestructible, and formless. Over the last week, you have been using formless meditations to investigate the formlessness that surrounds and permeates your body and mind. You're discovering that it is always with you, and it is stable, permanent, and invincible. Many wisdom traditions refer to the formless as soul, spirit, God, or the higher power of their understanding. But often, many wisdom traditions dress these ideas up with so many concepts that these ideas seem distant, far away, and unreachable. We have been bringing the formless close by becoming aware of it and investigating it. Wisdom teachers who recognize their formless nature tell us the formless is that which created all forms, created the laws that all forms obey, and animates all forms. They tell us the formless is within us, around us, and always with us. These awakened beings tell us things like, love your neighbor as yourself. All life is one. We are one with spirit. And God alone exists. The formless is the one life that is the essential nature of all life forms, including us. Our essential nature is the one life, and thus we are all each other. Now, these ideas baffle our conceptual mind, but for many of us, our hearts leap with resonance, attraction, or joy upon hearing these words. There's something about them that speaks truthfully to us. And we can trust that intuitive, heartfelt experience of these words. And one analogy we can make with self-view is trying to compare it to renting movies. Now, when I grew up, we had these things called video rental stores. And you could go there and look at a variety of rectangular boxes that each contained something called a VHS tape. Now, each tape had on it a movie that could be read by a larger rectangular device known as a VCR. So you'd rent the VHS tape, go home, put the tape in your VCR, and watch the movie on your TV. Now, you could watch all kinds of movies: action, adventure, romance, comedy, horror, dramas, even musicals. And all of them were entirely made up. It was all just for entertainment. And it was all, nobody, even though there might have been a lot of violence and suffering, there wasn't anyone actually getting harmed in any of these movies. Now you, as a person, are like that VHS tape that the one life has rented to watch and enjoy in 3D and stereo surround sound. Now, after your person dies, your essential nature as formless awareness lives on to rent another VHS tape. The next VHS tape may be the life of a movie star, a homeless person, or even a telemarketer. It may also be the life of a cardinal, a poodle, or a chicken, or maybe even a life from another planet or in another realm of existence. This is why many wisdom traditions speak of reincarnation and also speak of heavenly realms. And by the way, you don't need to believe in reincarnation or heavenly realms until you know it to be true from your own personal experience. Until then, just remain open to the fact that we don't really know what will happen to us when the body dies. But back to our story. Now, most of us fixate on the movie played on the VHS tape, the person or the character that our awareness inhabits. Few of us actually get interested in the one life that is actually watching all of these VHS tapes unfold. Thankfully, over this course, we have started to take an interest in that one life of formless awareness. It turns out we have a choice. We can either be the watcher of the movie, or we can be the character in the movie. Now, the character's life is full of drama and suffering. The character grows, changes, and is the subject to gain and loss, fame and disrepute, pleasure and pain, praise and blame, old age, injury, and death. The watcher, on the other hand, is peaceful, content, eternal, and invulnerable. The nice thing is, if we choose to be the watcher, the character also comes into alignment with the universal values of love, truth, and joyful service. So when it comes to this decision, we have the free will to choose. And which one will you decide to be? Will you decide to be the watcher or the character? And when it comes to making this choice, your actions speak louder than words. If you choose to be the watcher, then you choose to be the watcher by investing your time and energy into doing the practices of meditation, gratitude, investigations, and baladi. These actions show your commitment to that choice, and the universe needs to see that commitment from you to know for sure that you really choose that path. And from those practices, you're going to know the sweet fruits and benefits of being the watcher rather than the character in these movies. So that's our choice. And I hope that is just an analogy that helps better explain what's going on here. So even as the watcher, we're still going to be observing this reality through this body and through this mind. But we're going to find we have a lot more freedom, a lot more peace, a lot more satisfaction in our lives, a lot more joy, and uh, and a lot more love for all beings and all life forms. So last week, I shared about this body mind's confusing and painful story of its struggles with electromagnetic hypersensitivity syndrome, or EHS. And I used this story as an example of self-view because in that story, I was completely identified with me as being this body mind. And given that story and that example, one may wonder, if I embrace my formless nature, does that mean I no longer care about the body and its needs? And the answer to that is, of course, absolutely not. This form, like all other forms, is a beautiful manifestation of the one life. I do my best to care for this form, and at the same time, I know that it will, like all other forms, one day get sick and die. I do my best to limit its exposure to what it finds harmful, be that electromagnetic fields, healthy foods, or I'm sorry, electromagnetic fields, unhealthy foods, or a sedentary lifestyle, and so on. So I limit my access to those things that are problematic for the body. But there's also that liberating recognition that no matter what I do, I cannot fully protect this body. This body mind, like all other forms, is of the nature to grow old, get sick, and die. In those moments when I cannot protect the body through a skillful response, this situation is met with an attitude of peaceful surrender and a thy will be done approach. So, definitely when we live as the witness, we're less concerned about the form. We're more willing to put our sort of faith in life that it's going to take care of us as we need to be taken care of. And we also do our best to care for this form. Uh, so, hmm. So all of the subtleties of this art is something that you're going to be able to work out through your own practice. It oftentimes feels like, oh, there's a lot of tightrope walking in this, like a little bit, you want to be right here, not there, right here in the middle, keeping your balance. Oh, now, last week we also asked you to not believe this liberating insight that you are the formless awareness, but instead to test it in your own experience to see if it contributes to your well-being and the well-being of others. So rather than seeing the formlessness as another belief you need to adopt, we ask this question: who are we when no self-view is present in the mind? Who are we when we have no story of self? Of course, or as it turns out, self-view has been so deeply conditioned in us that it may take days, weeks, or months to mindfully recognize and experience what living without self-view is like. Thankfully, like all other forms, self-view is a cloud passing in the sky of formless awareness. The main skill we have been trying to teach you during this course is the felt and experiential difference between identifying with form and not identifying with form. Learning the difference between these two experiences and seeing what factors are at play with each is crucial for your continued development in this practice. Thankfully, most of us have already experienced it. We have been learning how to disidentify from our thoughts. Rather than mistake thoughts to be the truth of reality, we have investigated thoughts and now understand them to be conditioned, impersonal, fleeting, immaterial forms that we give our power to when we either believe them or take them to be important. However, the brain's "my thoughts are true" bias means that generally we believe the thoughts we think. So we practice meditation to mindfully see thoughts as thoughts. Through investigating thoughts that set off our falsehood alarms, we have seen that what we believe deceives. So now we're mindful of our thoughts. We don't believe those thoughts that cause afflictive emotions to arise. We allow them to be, as relating to them with aversion still gives them an importance that they do not deserve. And when we relate to them with aversion, that's going to cause us to suffer as well. Then we investigate those false thoughts to see how they are untrue, unhelpful, and unkind. And finally, we respond to those thoughts with a loving response that reminds us of the liberating insights we have learned in this course. Those insights include: all life is sacred. If it's not kind, it's not true. What you believe deceives. The now is all there is. We are formless awareness. And all form is impermanent and impersonal, and to identify with it causes us to suffer. There's other ones we've learned, but those are the main ones. And through this process of mindfully investigating falsehoods, we integrate these liberating insights into our life so we can live from them more and more in our lives, in daily life. The ego only cares about itself and its own well-being. Our true selves cares about the well-being of all life. These insights, rather than being personal, are universal and also care about the well-being of all life. Hopefully, through your meditation, investigations, and Bhakti practices, you have seen the difference between identifying with thoughts and being mindfully unidentified with them. And just, can I get a show of hands? How many of you have seen yourself not identified with, like you've experienced not being identified with a falsehood in the mind? Okay, that's nearly universal. Wonderful. 90% of you. Good. Thoughts are the easiest thing to disidentify from, and that's why we start there. And when we identify with our thoughts, we feel stress, anxiety, overwhelm, fear, anger, and other afflictive emotions that cause us to act out unskillfully. But when we mindfully see the thought without identifying with it, we can hold the same thought peacefully, calmly, lovingly, and respond skillfully to whatever arises. The difference between identification and non-identification is the difference between fearing that the tiger we painted is alive and attacking us, and seeing the painting as merely a harmless painting. The difference between identification and non-identification is the difference between being a temporary wave on the ocean crashing into cliff rocks and being the peace and tranquility of the deep ocean. The difference between identification and non-identification is the difference between being an angry storm cloud in the sky and being the sky itself. With one, it's more intense, it's more painful, there's a lot more suffering. With the other, there's wisdom, there's love, there's compassion, there's skillfulness. So start paying attention and just investigating, am I attached to this or not? With every form that you encounter. And it's okay to do this on forms that you clearly have no attachment to, like the sounds that you hear, um, physical objects that you have no care about. Because then again, you just start to see like, oh yeah, this is what non-attachment feels like. And you can feel that peace and that ease. And then compare it to those forms that you are attached or identified with. Okay. So to help us better see, know, and experience non-attachment, it is wise to ask this question during all of our investigations. Right now, am I identified with this form or not? And whether the answer is yes or no, we can learn something. If we are identified with the form, such as back pain, we feel the sting of what it is like to be identified with the form. We can then investigate further. What is the essential aspects of identifying with back pain? Oh, I see I'm believing that I am this body. I'm seeing this pain as more important, lasting, and dangerous than it is. The feeling tone is unpleasant. I also see a lot of resistance arising towards this unpleasantness. I have a strong desire to make it go away, and that resistance adds even more unpleasantness to the situation. Now, having investigated what it is like to be identified with the form of back pain, then we can use self-inquiry questions offered in the Disidentify Practice handout to help you disidentify from the form. Then, when we are mindfully disidentified, we can learn from that form as well. First, we're going to feel the transcendent peace of relating to the back pain mindfully, free of aversion and judgment. Then we can ask, what is the essential aspect of non-identification with the form? Oh, I see there's no story of self in the mind right now. I'm just the formless awareness who knows that back pain is being known. I feel my eternal, unchanging, invincible, formless nature that surrounds and permeates the back pain. Aware of my true self, I know the back pain to be temporary and unable to harm me, unable to harm my essential nature. Also, the formless awareness allows the back pain to be present without any judgment or resistance. The feeling tone of the back pain is slightly unpleasant, but it's not nearly as intense as when self-view is present. In fact, there is almost a neutral feeling tone to it. And I also feel a pleasant feeling tone to be experiencing what non-identification looks and feels like. So that's just one example of how different these experiences of the exact same phenomena can be when we relate to it with identification and when we relate to it with non-identification. So from here on out, let this be your intention to pay attention to the mental and felt difference between being identified with form and being unidentified with form. Learn from both situations. As you do this, you will become more skilled at using self-inquiry to help you return to the position of formless awareness, or to the position of a mind free of the falsehood of self-view. And actually, you don't actually even have to be free of the falsehood of self-view. You just need to mindfully know self-view is present, and then remember that it's not true, and believe it. But not, well, let's be cautious with the believe thing. You just need to know directly, oh, that's self-view, that's not true. And and this is going to help you phenomenally in your practice to start paying attention to this difference between what it's like to be identified and what it's like to not be identified. Thankfully, and just so you don't think this is too hard, I want you to know we do experience freedom from self-view many times a day. But now you need to mindfully experience and know that you are experiencing it. Examples of when we experience life free of self-view include in deep, dreamless sleep, because in deep, dreamless sleep, there is no self-view. And that is why it is so restful and rejuvenating to the body. Deep, dreamless sleep is what awareness experiences when there is no form to be aware of. So we can know our awareness is actually conditioned. It depends on there being some form to be aware of. And in deep dreamless sleep, there is no form, and so there's no awareness. And we want to be, and so that's one time when it happens. So you're free of self-view for several hours each night, at least. But we'd want to be able to mindfully experience this freedom from self-view. So when we meditate, there are many moments when we are free of self-view, and this is also why meditation is so restful. Also, when we engage in a challenging project that takes all of our focus, we can get into a flow state that is peaceful and effortless. These states of flow are also free of self-view. So you might do this while exercising, while engaging in putting a puzzle together, or some other activity that just sort of keeps you focused and on that activity. When we're fully present in the now, when we're doing the be here now practice, and we're doing it really well, there's no self-view, just mindful awareness and a sense of peace, ease, allowance, and joy. So those are some examples of when we experience non-identification throughout our days. But now we want to just start doing this mindfully. So regularly ask yourself, right now, am I identified or unidentified with form? Whatever form is presenting itself. And it's usually going to be a thought about other forms or an emotion that you're feeling or a sensation you're feeling, like back pain. Then investigate further. And if you're identified, use self-inquiry to help you let go of the self-view with that form. Through this, you can learn how to investigate to liberate. Because that's what self-inquiry is all about. Investigating to liberate. Investigating to liberating. I don't know. I guess I have to say that a certain way. Anyway, to those of you who have been attending these classes or listening to them and not doing the practices of meditation and investigation that we're encouraging you to do, what I'm saying might sound very academic, intellectual, or meaningless to you. This is the importance of actually doing the practice. Just like you can't learn how to dance by only reading a book about how to dance, you actually have to practice dancing if you want to learn how to dance, right? The same is true with learning to disidentify from form. Listening to talks about disidentifying from form is different than practicing it, mindfully experiencing it, and starting to see for yourself how you can use self-inquiry to aid you in disidentifying from form. So I can describe the differences of being identified and not being identified till I'm blue in the face. But until you mindfully experience the contrast of these states on your own, the power and potential of it will not be fully understood. Moreover, these practices exist to help you see the drawbacks and dangers of the conceptual mind so that you can transcend the concepts and live from your radiant, boundlessly loving and wise heart. But listening to these talks on an intellectual level keeps you firmly tethered identified with, and seeking answers from your conceptual mind. But your conceptual mind will not be your salvation because it is actually the source of all falsehoods and problems, like we showed you last week in that little diagram I had. As wisdom teacher Eckhart Tolle says, you cannot solve the problems of the mind on the level of mind. We are really trying to learn how to transcend mind, how to see the harms, the dangers, the drawbacks of the mind, and let go of all the thinking and return to more of a heart-centered way of living. Now, you may wonder, if I transcend the conceptual mind, will I no longer be able to think? Well, it turns out the mind will still think to help you deal with the practical matters of living. But now, the mind is going to be your friend and ally rather than your tormentor. And when you no longer need the mind, it will be blissfully silent. Anyway, for those of you who have been listening to this course, I now formally invite you to consider taking it again, and this time fully committing to spending 20 minutes a day doing the meditation, intention setting, appreciation, and investigation practices. Then you will experience firsthand what we're talking about, and what is said will make far more sense. It will no longer seem too academic, intellectual, or meaningless. And yeah, I hope that's the case for those of you who are doing the practices. I expect it to at least make more sense to you than for those who are not. Even though it still might be difficult and challenging to grasp like what exactly is being said. And for those of you who are doing the practices, stay the course. Keep doing them. Keep meditating, offering gratitude, and doing investigations and the Bilotti practice. Patience and persistence pays. With investigations, you're becoming familiar with the questions. You're getting more comfortable answering them from direct experience rather than just the mind. And you're starting to use them to really benefit your life. So keep using them, keep mastering them. They will continue to serve you and all life. And now a thought experiment. What if we all lived from our eternal, invincible, formless awareness? Would we greedily destroy the life support systems of the planet to support all of our greedy material wants? Would we exploit each other for personal gain? Would we judge everyone and everything in an effort to control them? Would material possessions, good looks, fame and fortune, drugs and alcohol, and other addictive activities continue to have any hold over us? Imagine how much suffering could be eradicated and prevented for ourselves and for all other living beings too, if we all worked to live from our eternal, invincible, formless awareness. If we all did this, can you imagine how quickly we as a species would spiritually evolve? If we all did this, can you imagine how quickly we could create a global beloved community where all life would thrive? This week, whenever you remember to investigate, remember to ask yourself, am I identified with this form or not? Learn the felt and experiential difference between being identified and not being identified. Then use the self-inquiry questions to help you transition from being identified to not identified with the form. Learn these things, and liberation in this lifetime becomes a real potential. I repeat, this week, whenever you remember to, investigate. Am I identified with this form or not? Learn the felt and experiential difference between being identified and not being identified. Then use the self-inquiry questions to help you transition from being identified to not being identified with the form. Learn these things and liberation in this lifetime becomes a real potential. Let's take a mindful pause. Check out the Mindfulness Fundamentals webpage for your mindfulness mission this week, along with the new meditations and intention settings. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the evaluation form that we have online. I'm going to drop the link for that into the chat. And in the content evaluation field, when filling it out, just put MF11 for Mindfulness Fundamentals Class 11. And now let's do our closing meditation. Our time together, learning how to come home to love, truth, and joyful service, brings us many benefits. We freely share these benefits energetically with all beings and all life, that they too may benefit from our meditation practice. May all people, all beings, and all life be free from suffering, safe and protected, healthy and strong, peaceful and happy. Wonderful. Well, my friends, next week is our last class. My intention is to give you a lot of helpful parting information so you may effectively continue to deepen your practice, uproot these falsehoods, and live with more love, peace, and joy. As always, thank you for all of the efforts you put into the practices. Please keep doing the practices with kindness, patience, love, and persistence. Be well. I love you and wish you peace, love, wisdom, and joy. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. You have a great evening and Happy New Year to you all.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see everybody.
Thanks. Take good care.
Have a great week.
And for those who are interested, I'm happy to stick around afterwards if you have questions or comments.